Hey, welcome to Men on Everything. This is our show where we talk about the biggest stories. In New York City is Mark Clark from Radio 1039. From Washington, D.C., from WHUR, from All News 99.1, from NBC4 sometimes.
Wow.
You know?
What an introduction, Tony.
He's Jimmy Fallon's sit-in when Jimmy goes on vacation. He does everything. He's Troy Johnson. And I'm Tony Scott from Old School 95.5. And
In the Lou.
In the Lou, yes. So the Justice Department civil rights investigation has concluded, and they say the Ferguson Police Department and the municipal court in the city of Ferguson, Missouri, engaged in a, quote, pattern and practice of discrimination against African Americans, targeting them disproportionately for traffic stops, use of force, jail sentences. No one's there, and that's exact. No one's saying anything because it's like, well, hell, everybody knew that though. Everybody knew what's going on, you know.
Well, what I'm excited, Tony, because this revelation will spark those who live there, who are the majority, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
It will spark them to vote and participate and put those people in power that will represent their interests. So I'm glad this report came out because that's the spark that was needed, I imagine, to see things change immediately.
All right.
No?
What?
Hello? Hello? This thing on? Hello?
85% of people subject to vehicle stops by Ferguson police are African American. 90% of those who got tickets were black. 93% of people arrested are African American, right? Blacks were disproportionately more likely to be cited for minor infractions, 95% of tickets for jaywalking. They're ticketing people for jaywalking. They're ticketing black folks in Ferguson for jaywalking. Nobody gets tickets for jaywalking.
Well, Tony, let me ask you this.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
I'm now Troy. You know what? I'm Troy Johnson now.
What?
If this is the case, black people, in every city in America, because it pretty much is, why isn't there participation?
Well, I mean,
in America, if there's not participation, what the hell are you crying about? If you are the one whose neck is trapped by the boot, it'd be different if you're not feeling the effects. It's one thing, but if you're feeling the effects, why isn't your voice being heard? I was at an event in New York this Saturday, right? A lady was getting honored, and she gave love to the city representative, the city council member or whatever, because this city council member said to the developers, "You will not build another building in this area if you do not give this organization a space for their community work in perpetuity."
Well, isn't that a shakedown though?
Nope. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. Because the businesses come into your neighborhoods and they offer blank, usually nothing. They basically rape the neighborhood. So the exchange is, if you're going to come do this, then this is what you need to give back to the community.
But the other side, the devil's advocate side, says we're not raping the community. We're coming into the community and providing a service.
They're not. They're not.
The service being whatever they're there to do. It's selling whether it's a hardware store or whatever. I'm providing a service, so somebody doesn't have to drive 20 miles to the nearest hardware store. No.
No. It's development.
They're servicing themselves.
Yeah, they're development. I'm talking about developments, Tony, and development.
No, I understand. Yeah.
Which just build housing to basically shut down get the poor people out of there and raise the housing.
Right.
There really is no benefit. I guess I'm just trying to say, okay, all this information, that great information you gave us, that factual information that you gave us, why aren't people? What's going to happen to get people involved? I mean, at the end of the day, their hands aren't tied. They can do it. They can do it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, man. Is it a case of folks are just been beaten down for so long they got no more fight left in them? No. I mean, I'm asking. Is that a reason? Is it time for the old?
They're not tired of voting because they never voted.
No, but I mean, are they tired of just being harassed so much that they're like, it's always going to be like this? Why even bother? And that's to me, you've been beaten down so badly and for so long. It's like you feel like your civil rights self-esteem doesn't even play into the equation anymore. Or maybe I'm off the mark. I'm asking.
I think that analogy suits for people who actually participated in the struggle. You know, if you want to talk about people who were activists in the civil rights movement, we're just in a generation. It was kind of, I hate to put it this way, it's almost like the gift and the curse. We have to fight for our civil rights. That's, you know, that's why 50 years ago now, when you think about this march on Selma, Alabama, those young people mostly, and when I say young people, you know, there were kids in the civil rights movement that were 12 years old and younger. Some were able to participate. So young people and students drove that movement, much like you see in Ferguson today after that shooting of Michael Brown. But our eye is off the prize because we achieved the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We got that. We got you know, equal access. We got affirmative action. And then people just went to sleep and thought everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
You have to constantly fight to maintain the gains that you've made in this country. And that's what we haven't been good at for a variety of reasons. Some people are like, I'm out the hood. I don't have, like you said, I don't have these problems to deal with. Other people are just like, it is what it is. And they don't feel motivated to do anything about it other than just bitch when something happens.
Right.
We have to be more diligent. We have to educate ourselves, and we have to stay engaged if you want the changes and the benefits and the growth that we've had to continue.
Tony, Troy, you mentioned 12-year-old, then you also mentioned eye on the prize. And someone that familiar with Tony, you're probably not familiar with because he's in Maryland, in the D.C. area, Freeman Rabowski, who is at UMBC?
Yeah, University of Maryland, Baltimore
and
County.
So is he the president or he's the chancellor or he's the school? And so the school, Tony, has an amazing reputation and amazing math and science program. And he takes a lot of the bright minds throughout, you know, Baltimore, Maryland, and then the D.C. area, and he has a program for them. And here's a guy who, like you said, talk about keeping the spirit going. He appeared in the PBS series Eyes on the Prize when he was 12. He's 12. He's 12 years old in this seminal piece of, you know, this work, this historic, iconic piece of work, and then he grows up to be this man who continues to make change happen. And he's an amazing speaker. He's an amazing educator. And I think those people, now if he was tired, he might get a pass. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, but it's
he grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, by the way, and was either friends or knew of those girls that were killed in that bombing in 1964.
I kind of look at it like this, man. Like the movement that went on, the civil rights movement that went on in the 60s. Okay, the folks who were adults then. Okay, and then there seemed to be like their children, nothing really happened. And I'm speaking as someone in the St. Louis area, what went on in Ferguson. And then what happened, and then the civil rights people, their kids who I said did nothing happen, their kids now with social media have picked up the ball, but it's that my generation, for lack of a better way to put it, my generation maybe was too passive. Maybe we got lazy. I don't know, but there seems to be something missing because you look at the young people who got involved, and I guess the Michael Brown murder was their wake-up call, and they got involved and they've stayed involved, and they still have the fire in the belly they had back in August of 2014 when Michael Brown was murdered. But the people who are my age, you know, they were saying, you know, you better get you a job, you know, and it's like. What?
You're right, Tony. I mean, you know, again, there were so many significant gains in a basically 10, 15-year period. You know, you have the ability to vote now and you won't be discriminated. This is federal law. So everybody's like, okay, we're good. But then the civil rights leaders, you know, and I'm generalizing, you know, we know this to be the case. Some of them were co-opted and they cashed in. And it lagged. There was no next generation. You know, there was no. When I was a kid, I used to say this all the time. I don't think that we're still going to have a struggle because we don't have a leader that is willing to put it on the line like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X. They said all the time, I'm willing to die to achieve the freedom for my people. Have you heard that from,
No.
random
No.
black leader?
No.
In
No,
35 years, 40 years? No.
Not at all. No.
Well, but and I think, like you said, I think there's a lot of dynamics in there. I think you have the drugs. I think the 80s and the Reagan era. Thank you, Mr. Reagan. Thank you for Iran-Contra. Thank you for crack. That's a big factor. I think you had, like you said, you did have a degree of success where success can pacify. You have a certain degree of quote unquote success, and then people say, we always forget that the civil rights, it was a small group of people. It was small. Not everybody was down. I remember I always tell this story when we do this thing. My mother was in Detroit, and I'd be like, "Mom, what was it like?" She's like, I don't know. I was working. It was kind of like, not everybody was like,
Yeah.
And what was interesting, and it's interesting, my in-laws on the other hand, they were, Afro dashiki, met Malcolm X. My father was there. That famous speech Malcolm X was at Harvard or Yale when the white girl asked, "Is there something I can do?" And he's like, "No." My father was there. He's like Forrest Gump. He was there. He saw the exchange. But they actually went to the Peace Corps, fueled by John F. Kennedy's message, and they went to the Peace Corps. So they weren't a part of the civil rights thing because they were in other countries doing the thing. So there's a whole bunch of factors. I guess at the end of the day, and I don't want to sound too Bill Cosby-ish like a grandfather, but I think at the end of the day,
Couldn't pick anybody else, huh?
I'm sorry. I just think we all need to start fighting for what we want, and that starts with electing the officials that you want. That starts educating your kids how you want, and it starts with us making moves that we think are important. Are we doing anything in the community? Do you give any time to the community? You make any difference at all, or do we just sit back and complain? Yes.
Right.
So Troy's our go-to guy when it comes to the hard stuff, and I don't know how hard this is, but the Hillary Clinton, it came out today that when she was Secretary of State, she didn't use the government email; she used her own personal email for all her emails, and people saying, "Well, why would she do that?" And I even heard some people today on television say, "She just made a mistake." No, she didn't make a she didn't make no mistake. There's a reason why she did that, and because they want them to use the government emails so there'll be an archive and they can be used for historical purposes, and it just is official. How you gonna use your AOL account if you're Secretary of State? I mean, you send in a message to Netanyahu in Israel, and you're using your AOL account, man? Really? Really? I mean, but is that a big deal though, Troy?
Yes, that's a big deal. Ask Richard Nixon how big a deal it is about them tapes. I mean, there has to be a record of. There's a reason you can't go to your job and send an email from BHB03 and the BHB Big Hairy Balls. I mean, you can do that.
Star Time 69. Yeah,
there's a protocol.
Yeah,
we talked to a lot of people talking about protocol these days, and there is supposed to be a public record of these things. Now, Hillary Clinton,
is this going to cost her?
I think it's going to be she's going to be chided for it. I think she turned over the emails.
Yeah.
After her aides poured over all of them to make sure that they were, they looked through all them joints like, oh,
Bill ought to kick you in your nuts,
This makes me think of that meme. Remember that meme last year with her, sitting with the sunglasses on her phone, and people are like, I can just see, she's probably sending off about 55 emails right then from her personal phone.
Will this keep her from running for president?
Oh, no.
Okay.
She'll be fine.
And if I'm Hillary, if I'm her people, I move past this, man. I don't like as a voter. I don't care. I don't care at all. I don't care one smidge on that one. And I think you just apologize and keep it going.
Okay.
But she did something wrong though. I mean, let's not act like it was just my bad. 55,000 emails you sent from your personal phone. Come on now, that ain't right.
So let's transition to Hollywood, man, because this Monique thing with Lee Daniels. Monique says Lee Daniels' problem with her, when he called her out and says that she's been blackballed, she says his problem with her is she didn't thank him when she won her Academy Award for her role in Precious. That's what she said. But and then she went on to say that she was originally supposed to play Cookie Lyons on Empire. But the Fox executive says, no, she's too hard to work with, pick somebody else. This is what she says happened. And
that would have been a lot of cookies.
but I mean, could you see Monique playing Cookie Lyons? I think I kind of could.
Yeah, well, let me you know.
Plus, she's an actress.
Yeah,
she acts.
I do like
Taraji.
I like Taraji.
Sure.
But I think her and Terrence, I like their energy.
Right.
But my take on the Monique thing after reading kind of through the things, there's a couple things that stand out to me. You know, number one, the Lee Daniels seems to be, he's kind of one of those weird friends to me. Like, he seems like he will throw you under the bus, like halfway under the bus.
Right.
You know, like I understand that, you know, Monique, she does Precious. You do Precious for $50 grand, right? It's no money. You're doing it for love. It's a great project.
Right. It was an independent project.
Independent project. You know it's no money. You know, at the time she had a TV show, she had a lot of stuff popping. So then the studio calls you and says, hey, you got to do some press. Now, the funny thing about all this is, you know, I understand. Like, you know, you did the deal. You didn't really make any money on it. It's great, but we want you to do some press. They called her. She's doing a show. She hadn't any time with her family. She's like, I'm kind of hanging out with my family. You know what I mean? It's not convenient for me to go to France right now. They're like, they call, you know, they made the one call. Then they called again. Then they called a third time. And she's like, well, how much you going to pay me? And then that was kind of like, we don't pay people to, you know what I mean? So you can imagine that, you know, to me, and again, I don't know how it works for real, but I know Lee Daniels is the director. It seems like to me, if in fact that was the case, and Lee Daniels, you know, he knows her, he's a friend or whatever, I think I would have tried to get her back at that point from a standpoint of promotion. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of factors going on. I understand it. You know, people say, hey, you signed on to this movie, you got to do the promotion. Yes, but at the same time, you signed on to this movie, and this movie is not the typical situation because there's no bells and whistles. I kind of, you know, I did my thing. So I understand. But it seems like the way the stories come out, I'm not really that. It seems like Lee Daniels kind of, on one hand, is truthful, like, hey, girl, you burned a bridge, you got blackballed. On the other hand, you offered her every role. So
right.
It's like, so here's the deal. You offer the role in The Butler, but Oprah, who's going to be, Monique or Oprah? It's going to be Oprah.
Right.
You offer the role in the other movie that she was a butler. Oh, the other movie that Oprah took the role too. And so it's kind of like you can't go against Oprah because she greenlights all your projects, but you still offer her these roles. Why offer the role? You know what I mean? Why go through the hoops? Girl, I got this other role for you called Cookie for this rap show. Oh, never mind.
Could we see Monique down the road playing Cookie's mother or something? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I did also read where Terrence Howard was supposedly upset because they won't let him use the N-word on Empire. I was like,
simmer down, Terrence Howard.
I was like, come on, man. And I don't know if that's true or not. I read that somewhere and I was like, nah, come on, man.
That's the only thing missing from the show. He's right.
Well, you know what? Damn. Stop. Now I did read Lionel Richie was upset at Kanye West because Kanye West used the N-word 39 times at the Brit Awards. Now, who counted 39? If you count, and I said this on the radio, if you count someone using the N-word, how many times they use the N-word, in a sense, you're hating just a little bit because one is enough. One is too many, but Lionel Richie says, I'm from the older generation, and he's from the older generation who's from Alabama, and the N-word probably stings a little bit more for someone like Lionel Richie. Oh yeah, well I mean, you know, and the young people, you know, they say, well, we made it our own. No, you didn't. No, stop using that argument because you look silly. you look. See, people my generation, we think you look silly when you say that.
Except the only person who doesn't is Samuel Jackson, who said it 47 times. And he wasn't even performing. He was just talking. Hey.
He was talking to his daughter.
Damn. Lionel Richie had a lot of free time. You know, look.
Well,
and two things happen. You hear a speech and you're like, wait a minute, did I hear the N-word again? Wait a minute, 1, 2. So
yeah.
I mean, obviously, it
well,
was
I don't think he used
prominent, he couldn't help but count.
I think he was counting even the performance, because I think Kanye performed, and that's part of the 39. I think. I can't imagine that Kanye used it 39 times in some kind of acceptance speech for whatever award he got.
Then Lionel was like, "Damn, I had to come all the way to the UK
to hear this."
Now, speaking of Lionel, guys, I'm like, okay, this is interesting because now Tony is all natural when it comes to your hair. I got gray hair.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. I got gray hair. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Now Lionel, Smokey, Steve Harvey, like guys who are on television, they seem to make the decision to go with the touch up.
Yeah.
Now, guys, if we were on television, which I guess this is television, I guess this answers the question.
With bottom rung of TV.
Would we, in the name of TV, go with the darker?
Well, I guess.
And if so, Tony, you need to start dying tomorrow.
I need to start dying while we finish this show.
No, I'm joking. I don't know. Because I thought about it. I said, you know what? It's true. Lionel does look good. I mean, he's probably 60. He looks great.
Oh, he's in his 60s, yeah.
But I'm like, wow, in my mind, I don't see myself as dying. Yeah. Troy, you're doing TV now. Would you just for TV go ahead and touch it up?
If I had some hair, I was looking forward to the gray accents. I was like, I thought that would look distinguished.
Yeah.
And
but your hair pulled up stakes, man.
It rolled out. Sidebar. I was at the laundromat.
Yeah.
Late at night. That's the best time to go. And one of those hair club for men shows came on, and I'm folding my clothes, and I'm like, I need to call that number.
Man, nah.
But that was like, no, I'm good.
But
I would use a touch of gray. That's what I'd be on that touch of gray.
Well, I would need more than a touch. I think I would need like a smack. But let me put it like this, Mark. If I had to do that to take care of my family, yeah, I would do it. But okay. if I'm Steve Harvey, I don't need this. Like he doesn't need Family Feud to take care of his family. He'll be fine, right? Someone like me.
Okay, now.
But because if I got called by a radio station and they said, we want to hire you, man, but could you do something with your hair? First of all, that would be illegal. But second of all, I probably would do it, because I need to take care of my family. So yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be hard. I mean, if they tell Steve Harvey to do that mustache for $5 million, man, I'd be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Well, if you don't have to, but if someone's going to pay you to do it, I mean, then you do it, I guess. I mean, I am what I am. This is it. For now. I mean, but if I got a job in Los Angeles or somewhere like that, and I felt like I needed to do it, I got a very good friend of mine who got a job as a program director on a young station, and he shaved off his mustache that he had forever so that he could look younger. And it worked. And it worked.
It did work because he found a couple of hip hop albums underneath it. So it was awesome.
He found Tribe Called Quest too.
Yeah.
What's he doing under there?
Tupac. Oh man.
Tupac.
So TMZ says that Bobby Brown's lawyers have had to come out and say that Bobby Brown is not shooting a reality show behind all this that's going on with his daughter.
Right.
Which, to me, if it were true that he was doing a reality show, I would burn my Bobby Brown CDs. I mean, I really would. I would lose all respect for him. Totally. I mean,
Bobby Brown is not who we... He's the voice of reason right now.
Absolutely. But it's just...
saying something.
Where did these reports come from, though, that he's doing a reality show? I mean, come on. For the love of God, stop.
It's the rest of his family.
Yeah. They need to stop.
They are trying to shop a deal.
They need to stop. I don't know if you remember Jennifer Freeman, but she was she played Claire on My Wife and Kids. She was like the teenager. And she grew up. She was a beautiful teenager. She turned to a beautiful young lady, and she got married to an NBA player who's now an ex-NBA player named Earl Watson. And they have a daughter together and stuff, but they're getting divorced. And he doesn't want to pay alimony because he says, why should I pay alimony? Because her acting career hasn't worked out. It don't work that way.
No,
Mr. Watson, excuse me. Mr. Watson, it don't work like that.
You did say ex-NBA basketball player.
Yeah.
Obviously, his free throw game is off.
I was gonna crack on his name, but my favorite uncle was Uncle Earl. But you gotta watch the Negroes named Earl, man.
Well, let me explain, because he's paying right now $2,500 a month in child support. He's only making $30,000 a year as a coach in the NBA's D League. You know, but he's saying that she has secured sporadic acting role. Basically, what he's saying is, why should I have to pay child support if she ain't got a full-time job? The acting thing ain't working out. She should get a full-time job.
See, he messed up. He should have flipped it the other way. She's still getting acting gigs. Why should I have to pay alimony?
Yeah,
he might have had a better. He might have had a better angle that way.
Yeah,
she makes $30 grand every time she gets a gig. That's not a whole year's salary. Come on, Your Honor.
The judge. But she says that he owns a bunch of real estate that's worth millions of dollars, and he can afford to pony up. But then, if that's the case, then if he's got that kind of money coming in, then why is he making 30 grand? He must be doing that because he loves to coach.
So he's trying to get to the main.
He's trying second act.
Yeah, got you. I got you.
And
I just thought that
was, for the record, I have no idea who she is.
Oh, she's a pretty young lady. I mean,
I'm trying to remember.
At least she was back then. I haven't seen a picture of her in a while, so I don't know.
I'm with you, Mar.
I don't know. So Troy, what was the deal with Netanyahu coming here and speaking to Congress, and that was not the right thing to do, and why is that such a problem? What's the backstory on that?
Well, Benjamin Netanyahu is the Prime Minister of Israel, and he was invited to speak to a joint session of Congress by John Boehner, Speaker of the House. Mm-hmm. Now, these joint sessions by heads of state have happened for years. You know, this is nothing. This is not a new situation. But why this is new is that he independently offered the invitation without any input from the White House at all.
So there's protocol to follow when you do that then. So if you're going to invite, so the leader of a country has to be invited by a leader of a country, our leader. Well,
not necessarily. Congress could make an invitation, but the president, the White House would be looped into the situation because it all fits together. You know, generally, if head of state is going to address Congress, he's probably going to meet with the president. It may be a state dinner. There are all these other things that go along with it. That's why they call it protocol.
Right.
But that
didn't happen.
John Boehner didn't make that route this time. He just offered the invitation. Benjamin Netanyahu accepted it because he feels like there's a problem with this ongoing issue with Iran and their potential to have, you know, what some people, well, Israel specifically is worried that they could acquire the ability to have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
I'm sorry, Troy, did you say a steak dinner or a state dinner?
Because there is a difference.
I saw Tony's mouth water. Tony's mouth water.
He's hungry.
And I ain't had steak in a long time, man.
Yeah, that would be nice. No, a state dinner.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
And there could be some steaks at the state dinner.
Well, it could be.
But yeah, so the issue is, you know, essentially the U.S. and Iran are already negotiating a deal that would make sure that they do not have a nuclear weapon.
Well, I did read this morning that the president's his proposal is they don't have access to nuclear materials to make the weapon for 10 years.
At least 10 years.
Yeah, and Iran says that's unacceptable.
They're saying that, but they're also at the table negotiating.
Right.
So, you know, the choice is, okay, and there's really no choice here. You know, take this deal.
Right.
Or we're going to levy some heavy sanctions on you. You're going to have some problems.
So bottom line, though, is should Netanyahu, should he have turned that invitation down?
Well, some people say he should have turned the invitation down because it jeopardizes the, not in a major way, but it certainly doesn't look great. It's, you know, like it's like your friend goes and does something you know that they really shouldn't be doing, but we're supposed to be getting together and working on some things. You know?
Right.
I mean, would you do that to a friend in that situation? Would you put the president in your relationship with the United States in all of those different layers? Would you put it in jeopardy by giving this speech?
But him and the president are cool on each other anyway, though.
Yeah, they're having a rocky relationship at times. It's not the warmest of relationships, and this doesn't help. You know, that's why. Go ahead.
In the bigger question, the invitation. The bigger question is the invitation, right?
The invitation could be extended, but they completely left the White House.
Is it that to me that's the bigger offense than Netanyahu? I can't say his name.
Netanyahu.
Who the hell? Who the hell? Accepting the invitation. Not
the Prime Minister.
Not on this watch. Not on my watch.
Well, I think they call him BB.
Yes, they do call him BB.
Yeah, they call him BB. So
And is it Net and not who?
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Not letting Netanyahu.
Chocolate yoo-hoo. What? Yeah. Wait a minute. What the hell? No. Now on a sidebar, I saw this post on Facebook where there was some people who felt like one of the Sunday morning news talk shows, the network shows, they kept referring to President Obama as Mr. Obama, and they saw that as a sign of disrespect. And I tried to, I remember when I was learning about news, which was so long ago, that it is acceptable to call a president Mr. So-and-so, in our case, Mr. Obama, when you refer to him in the third person. In other words, if you're doing a story about him, you can call him Obama, you can call him President Obama, or you can call him Mr. Obama. Those three things are acceptable in journalism if you're doing a story about him. Now, if you're talking to him, he would be Mr. President or President Obama. Am I right or am I wrong here, Troy?
Yeah, you can use all those variations. I think a lot of people feel like people specifically say just a last name.
Mm-hmm.
Obama said that he was going to.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the way most people talk nowadays. When you hear a story, when you hear a news story, you don't necessarily have to put the Mr. or Miss in front of a story. But some people, because maybe they haven't been listening to the news.
Right. They've been doing that forever.
That's disrespectful.
But they've been doing that forever. They did it with all the other presidents.
Well, any person,
But I mean, I'm talking about like the president, though. I mean,
like I'm saying, if I start off a story saying President Obama reacts to Benjamin Netanyahu's speech to Congress, he blah 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 blah, he blah 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 blah. Obama then says,
right.
Blank. You can, I've already referred to him.
And that's acceptable.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Well, gentlemen, you're in the wrong category. You are now in the world of black disrespect. Number one, do not step on my tennis shoes. Number two, if there is a black president, he should be referred to as Mr. President at every turn. I don't care how many times you say it. And number three, Mark Clark cannot say Netanyahu.
He just did. He just did. Man.
Only in the 3 rules of black disrespect can I say it. I can't say it in real life.
Man. And finally.
I'm sorry. Do not ever say anything bad about Oprah. I'm sorry.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah. Finally, in University City, which is a suburb of St. Louis, for those who are not in the St. Louis area and watching this or listening to this, there was a guy who allegedly robbed a bank, Commerce Bank, on Delmar. And he was running, and while he was running, he started throwing cash. And so police finally caught up with him, and they said, why were you dropping money? And he says, because it was too much to carry. I don't know, man. I mean,
that's a hell of a problem to have.
Yeah.
Let me try.
Dude, you're doing it wrong, man. You're doing it wrong. First degree robbery, and he's locked up.
How much money did he steal, Tony? Let's judge.
Does it say? It doesn't say. It doesn't say. But he says he dropped the money because he said he had too much to carry. So he just started throwing the money, man.
His last name wasn't Gump, was it?
No.
Check it.
Well, Tony, if you had 2 bags of gold bars,
yeah,
right? And those are heavy.
Those are heavy.
Bars.
And you trying to make an escape.
Right.
What do?
You lose some of them.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're talking about paper money, though.
I mean, money is heavy, I guess. I'd love to know.
I just don't.
I heard it's heavy.
I don't know, man. When I saw that, I was like, dude, you're doing it wrong, man.
Was it Delmar or Kingsbury? Kings Highway?
No, it was Delmar.
Well, you should do. You stop by the Blueberry Hill and put it underneath the Chuck Berry statue.
And come back for it later, man.
Come back on Sunday night.
And duck walk over to it, man.
just stash the bag in the vintage vinyl store and come back.
See, they're showing off now. They're mentioning all these businesses because they used to live here. Look at them. Look at them. So, well, that'll do it, man. Because somebody has an appointment.
Yes.
Somebody has to run. So
and it's not with not you.
Not with BB. So thanks for watching. A thumbs up helps. Sharing this goes a long way. Subscribing to the channel means so much to us. If you could do that, that'd be appreciated. In New York, that's Mark Clark. In Washington, D.C., that's Troy Johnson. I'm Tony Scott in St. Louis, and we'll see you next time.